at first, a radio was a thing like a television set used to be. It was a console. People sat around and listened to the radio. If you asked somebody, "What are you doing?" They would say, "Well, I'm listening to the radio." But today, radio is something that you are listening to while you're doing something else. So you can be reading the paper. You can be doing your knitting or doing your homework or writing a school paper or whatever it is, and the radio is there. More likely, the biggest radio audience is in cars now. Most likely you're driving to work or driving home or going from point A to point B, but you're listening to the radio. So it's not something that's a fixed, here and I'm going to sit in a chair and I'm going to now listen to the radio. It doesn't work that way. And a lot of television doesn't work that way anymore either, because television, not only because television is more mobile, but because people get up in the morning. Chances are they'll say, "I never listen to the radio." I say, "How do you wake up in the morning?" "Well, the alarm clock goes up." "Is it just an alarm clock?" "No, it's a radio alarm." And the first thing you hear is somebody talking at you from some studio, and that's radio. Radio, in fact, is so ubiquitous that people do it without even knowing they're doing it. It's like breathing. You say, "What did you do today?" "Well, I breathed. My heart pumped and I circulated some blood in my veins." But radio is just there. It's like water out of the faucet. But somebody is providing the electric power for the things you plug in. Somebody's providing the water, storing it, pumping it to get it where you need it. And I think the things that we take for granted are very often the most important things. So radio doesn't need to make major changes to survive. It just has to remember there's one person talking to another person. Whether this signal passes through electric wires, through cables, is sent by microwave from one point to another and then relayed to another point, sent out into space and bounced off a satellite, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me what happens to the electrons or to things that are moving at the speed of light. They go on and on. By the way, I mean, the broadcasts that I did 40 years ago are still headed for. They haven't reached the end of the universe yet, because there's nothing to stop them. They just keep moving. But for all practical purposes, what you do when you broadcast disappears literally at the speed of light, which I think very often is a blessing. If you put it in a book, however, it's there to embarrass you for years to come.